And one, Google has taken us live. It's the marketing show. Yay! It's Sam and Lauren, Joe and Federico. Yay! Here we all are. And Federico empowered with new high-speed internet. Yay! Super Federico. Federico Plus. Good stuff. Well, let's do that thing that we often do. And but by the way, I'm totally open to, like different formats for the meeting. I've fallen into this program. I did this in a lot, not just the marketing meeting, but lots of other meetings of just going around and getting agenda items at the beginning of the meeting and reviewing the previous action items or what have you. If anybody has suggestions for different formats for the meeting, interpretive dance or whatever it needs to be, I'm all ears. Go on, Federico.
Well, on that note, if I could make my items, could one of my items be maybe, I was actually thinking about it before today's meeting, making the meetings just a little more proactive in like actually getting things done like we did for the Dropcaster. Right. I know it's a little tough, but maybe if there's like really short items, maybe knocking them off at the end of the meeting.
Right.
Kind of like what you do with the scrums.
Yeah. Good suggestion. Any other I'm knocked off at end. Any other items to go on your personal agenda there?
Not really. There's the ever lagging newsletter. And I think that's about it.
Okay. Good stuff. Lara, anything on your mind?
So just from my side, Stella and what's it? Rails for Girls funding.
Right.
Sponsorship or whatever it's, yeah.
Excellent. Anything from on your mind, Joe?
Not really got a huge amount done this week, truthfully. I was going to ask you something because we discussed the idea of breaking down some of the text on that coding page on the website, which I had a sort of quick look at just before this meeting. I've not really looked at it in depth, but I wanted to talk about that at some point, please.
Sure. Great. Okay. Good show. Well, let's then. I think we've got a few things in there. Let's jump in there, just reviewing the previous action items. This is something that's still going on in the background. This like action on the website to make it we can track people signing up for a trial and so on. One of the things that's happening here is we're now starting to talk about having a React front end for the website and doing a complete redesign. We do have we've sort of spiked just a React front end for the site, just playing around with that in the React mobs, and potentially that will allow us to unblock a lot of different things that we want to do, like not rely upon the Mercury editing framework or need to have an upgrade to it, and just sort out a lot of things in one go. I mean, it's not a quick fix, but that's what's happening on that. Similarly, in terms of improving AV getting started, also just started work on a feature with a new person to try and get it so that we can have, at least on the existing site, editing of pages like this enabled for all premium users. We're kind of a bit stuck there in that we had some spurious sort of random spammy things being so we shut off editing across the board, which then prevents, for example, Federico going in and making tweaks and improvements there unless it's explicitly turned on. So yeah, hopefully progress on a couple of fronts there. The Dropcaster trial, in terms of that relates to this thing. Federico, did you manage to get the latest versions of the podcast into this repo?
So, I mean, I could lie and say I did, just so it sounds better, but no, I failed.
Okay. So, like, let's have a knockoff queue that will try and make things happen at the end of the meeting.
Yeah,
put that in there. So then we've got. So I'm still. Yeah. We're getting new sponsored people on. I'm continuing to like partly work through just like trying to work out all of our subscription histories and everything. And I don't know if I'm sort of prevaricating. I would sort of spend my mornings on that. I'm not going to finish it this week. I'm going to have to move back over to the oh gosh, what is it? Let's put that on as well. There's the Anthony Powell Society APSOC thing I'll have to do next week, and Anyway, so that continues. Yeah, so we've now got the Met Plus analytics setup is done. Laura and I paired on that, I think it was last week. Yay! And data is coming through, Laura, so that's all looking good. That relates to my item, is that I think we need to differentiate the dev and the production analytics.
Okay.
So it's been brought up. Something else to work on. Federico, how are things happening with the stand-up leads bumping into each other? Have we worked out what's going on there?
No, I actually had an incident today that I tried to set up a stand-up lead a week ago. And it only went live today. And yeah, that's partly my failure in contacting stand-up lead. I should do that.
Okay, so that's another one to we can knock to the end there. Okay. Right. And then, so moving on through there. Yeah, so the quality scores, I mean, I've got a view of that, Lara. This is the link, I guess. I think I even downloaded it last week. It's just...
Okay, so what you need to do is just click on the icon with 3 columns on the right-hand side.
This one?
No, next one.
Sorry, columns, rows. I'm terrible for columns and rows. Yes, go on.
No, that's fine. Rows, columns. I think click on attributions. Or attributes. Sorry, attributes. The next one down.
Yep.
And there should be something that says quality. There we go on the right hand side. Quality store. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
And then
hit apply at the bottom. Yeah, apply.
And so that's going to get quality scores in there.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you click on quality store,
yeah, it'll order them. Right.
So they have improved a bit, but they need to be a bit more.
Yes, and I think part of it was the only changes that I made were in the main page, and I think what we need is we need separate landing pages for the different things. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, you don't have to have separate landing pages for the keywords. I think it's just mainly the ones that you can see are getting clicks and impressions.
Right. Yeah, I didn't mean separate landing pages for the keywords. I meant that I think for the particular campaigns that we have that are sort of saying like, here's this thing, and then they're associated with particular keywords, is then when people land on that thing, otherwise if they're all landing on exactly the same landing page, then that...
Well, we've only got 2 campaigns. So we've got 2 campaigns. One is for the charity website and one is for a website one.
Right.
Then within our campaigns, we've got our ad groups, which is just our different ads, and Google chooses which ads it wants to display. So if you go to ad groups,
right. I mean, we've got these. We've got
the free mob programming as well, but that's
campaigns,
where's that landing? But the free mobbing is going to its own landing page already, so that's fine. I'm not worried. That's perfect. So if you go back to campaigns, then in the ad groups for website one, we've just got the different ads that are set up. And yeah, click that one.
Yes.
Within that, you will have So yeah.
But yeah, so I think for example, we've got these 2 ad groups which are themselves dealing with slightly different keyword groups. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
So
we can see which one we're getting. Yeah. Better leverage out of.
But so yeah, the long and the short of what I was going to say was that hopefully in the new front end we can have more tailored landing pages where the text there better corresponds to what people are clicking through on. So
yeah, and conversion tracking codes. I mean, I know that was something that was brought up at the end of last year, is that we don't have conversion tracking codes on everything.
No, they're certainly missing, and that's this block here that we frustrated. I mean, that's one of the Mercury system allows potentially very quick editing, but it also prevents us from adding like little JavaScript thing if they get filtered out. So yeah, hopefully later on in the year we'll move over and we'll have a lot more flexibility in that regard. Okay, so I guess we've done that now. We found out they've maybe improved a little bit, but there's definitely more to do. So it becomes a new action item, which is I think, given the diversity of keywords, the sensible thing is to have it's people who are like clicking on web application development versus people who are clicking on iOS programmers maybe sensibly should be seeing something different. But I guess we'll just put further work improving site in order to improve Google AdWord quality. What we do see is that the India, like actually in the most recent data, the Philippines is now getting more of our clicks, or at least India has become less of a spike. It's a bit more even than it was, rather unbalanced towards India. But so hopefully that's moving in the right direction. So there we go. There we go. Okay, there's this. Oh, I haven't done that, but that's blocked on the previous one. The newsletter we're going to talk about. I'll be unavailable this afternoon, so no NHS HLP Wiki meeting this afternoon, Lara. But I'll be doing a full day's meeting with them next week. We catch up. I mean, on Friday, and then we'll catch up next week.
Okay, great.
And then Joe, we've got your talking about what's going on in that coding page as well. I'm just going to knock this into here. Okay. So then going in, I mean, so as regards the Rails Girls funding, Lara, I mean, I think we had said we would try and get it into the newsletter. The newsletter obviously hasn't gone out yet. I don't know what other. Well, that's. I guess we can move that on. Yeah, I think we had. The plan was for Federico to do a review last week and then get it to me, but I guess Federico, that didn't happen.
Nope. Sorry.
And how is it? How is it now?
Exactly the same spot.
Yeah.
Okay, because I just chatted to Stella. They've got a link to raise the funds, but there's only 8 days left until for fundraising. So if the newsletter is going to go out on Monday, then we can still do it. But or maybe we must put a post out on I don't know.
So let's try. Let's use that.
Because they need to raise $1,500, and they've raised $530. With a company who has promised them 350, but that hasn't come through yet. So they're about $1,000 short at the moment.
So presumably,
970 short.
So presumably, Lara, we can that link we can post that on all of our, like we can put that on our LinkedIn, on our Twitter, and on our Facebook, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's also going in the newsletter. I get on the subject of the newsletter. I mean, the number of people who would actually open and read the newsletter is likely to be, maybe not as many as who would see it on these sort of little micro posts. So, we can get that link out there. I guess on the subject of the newsletter, I wonder if we need a different framework for the newsletter going forward, a bit like we had with the podcast. Is that it's. I mean, I guess my concern about the newsletter is that I have some skepticism about its value, like long term, but the amount of effort that's required to put into it, the value we get out of it, and that's not a criticism of anybody's anything. It's just how the world is going in terms of people are overwhelmed by data coming in from email, from all the different social media and so on. And I guess, it's like the newsletter seems like a nice thing to have. It was Matt who originally suggested it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'd like to have newsletters." Personally, I never read newsletters. It's like not my thing. But there are people who do. I mean, the click-throughs we had some. It's kind of gone down a bit. Of the 7,000 or so people that we've got that we're mailing Federico, then like maybe we get like between 20 and 50 who actually read it. Is that right?
No, originally we had about 20% in the first year.
Right.
28%. Then it went down to about 10%, and the last one in October was at about 11% that opened it.
Yeah, and I would imagine that that's, you know, and then it's gone like more recently 11%. I mean, that's, you know, what I imagine is, you know, when people receive a completely newsletter, there's a bit of novelty associated with it, and they kind of like, oh, what's that? And then, you know, I mean, I think it's definitely, we should definitely be reaching out to the new people who've signed up. We have, you know, like of the order of a new sort of 500 people a month who are signing up each month and giving us their email, and we should, you know, it's great to get something out to them. But I guess, should we put some kind of framework in place where we say, right, the newsletter is going to go out, and if it doesn't go out, then we just put a moratorium on doing newsletters for 6 months or something like that? What do you think, Federico? What would be a good framework to make sure it goes out?
Yeah, that's okay. I was actually thinking maybe perhaps just having a very fixed date for the newsletter, and then maybe if we don't get it out, then pushing it out to the next month. I don't know.
Well, that's sort of what's been happening by default.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's, you know, I'm as guilty as any in terms of, you know, having action items that need doing but can't get to. But I think so certainly with the podcast, by raising the stakes. I mean, I you know, want everything to be relaxed and nobody to be under pressure to do anything they don't want to do. But I guess it's sort of, if we're repeatedly reviewing the same thing and we come back and you know, oh, I was meant to do this and I couldn't do it. I guess we want to kind of adjust our thing, like either say, actually, I can't really do it, and then we know it's not going to happen, or do it. Do you know what I mean? Like the kind of the in between thing of it might happen, it might not happen kind of thing. Sort of, it ends up sucking out time that could be spent dealing with other things. So
I think maybe just so one thing for Federico, I think, and I think I've learned it from last year, and I shared it with Sam, especially now that I'm full-time working, is that I've committed to doing one thing a week. And it's really helped me because I love AV so much. I wanted to do everything.
Yes.
But it's not possible. So I think maybe a solution is that we say we commit to doing the newsletter the second week of the second last week of the month, where as a team we put the effort in and we focus on that. Okay, so you might have two things because you've got Phoenix 1 and you've got the mobs. I mean, I don't know what your timing is like, but yeah, so maybe it's just committing to 3 things in the week that you know that you can do, so that there's no, you know, so that we can move forward.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think for this particular one, I think we do have that funding that we want to help out. You know, with me, deadlines are the only thing that I pay attention to. And with that looming deadline of Stella's, the Rails Girls funding, that could help out. Yeah, so we're gonna fail to get it out for January, so it'll be February.
Mm-hmm.
So if we finish the marketing meeting a bit earlier, then maybe we can review the newsletter now.
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Sorry. I just said that if we finish the marketing meeting, let's say 15 minutes earlier today, let's say, then maybe we can spend 15 minutes just reviewing, so that Sam can.
Oh yeah, today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we can try that for sure. What time is it? Yeah, so we have half an hour.
Yeah, so what I think these are all great suggestions. I think specifically what I would propose is that if we can't get the newsletter out by the next marketing meeting, as in, so that's now, well, that would be, I mean, obviously we want to get it out as soon as possible in order to help Stella out. I think the thing I would suggest is, now what is it? We've got this, the 31st, just looking at the calendar. So the next marketing meeting will be on the 7th. So I would say, you know, let's have it out by the Feb 7th. It's not just on Federico. Like, Federico, you'd finish your portion. I've got my review. I mean, who knows? Maybe that can be done at the end of the meeting. We'll see. But if we don't do it by February the 7th, then let's agree to not have a newsletter for 3 months, I would say. And then we could do a you know, because it's sort of, because what I particularly worry about is it becomes that every meeting for the next 12 weeks that we put it off and put it off, put it off, and it's the same effect, but that we've spent, you know, there's been the ambiguity and 5 or 10 minutes wasted each meeting, kind of on something that still had the same effect. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that would be my proposal.
I second your proposal.
And we can still, and then if we get it done, and then we want to then have, we can have a rolling thing where, again, if it's not done, then that means let's put a moratorium. I mean, because I think when it's the situation that it's not getting done, it reflects some kind of, you know, people are overloaded. It's you know, there's not enough enthusiasm to do it, and so, you know, sometimes for it to be there to be a moratorium on it, that's great, but, you know, let's make that an explicit one rather than one that we sort of slide into accidentally.
Okay. Just, I would want to check with Joanne. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, on the subject of the newsletter, from my perspective, it's pretty much written. It's just about getting it all together. So I think we can do that in a week, and if we don't, then obviously we're all busy people. So I totally on board with that idea. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good. I think we can move on.
Yeah. So moving on, I've got a few. Actually, there's some positive activity. So Met Plus, they are paying for technical support and maintenance. There's a bit of an issue there in that, as I maybe mentioned earlier, the client is like keen to like now start rolling out to more people, that he wants more features. The developer community that had worked quite hard, you know, in fits and spurts on Met Plus has sort of evaporated, and Joao, who's the kind of the originator of the project, is a bit concerned about our ability to, you know, support them in an ongoing fashion. Yeah, there's we'll see what happens there. I'm hoping to move them towards. Oh, go on.
Yeah, I mean, I was very involved in that project, and I think because what happened is that it slowed down it went into testing phase. So maybe when people hear that it's got more in the backlog and phase 2 is happening, we might be able to get more people on board.
Yes, I agree, and I was saying to Joao, I think one of the things that's happened is they've stopped having regular meetings, and Joao's now kind of on the like, oh well, if we see that there are people interested, we'll have the regular meetings, and I think there's kind of a chicken and egg thing. But so I think I'm being oh, go on.
No, so you being?
I was going to say I'm being motivated to provide the infrastructure support because we're being paid for it, and then there's also premium members on Face to Face now who want to work on it, and I'm mentoring them on that. And so I think there's, as you say, there's a dormant community that, you know, now we're starting to get like you know, the live system and real data and so on. Potentially, it's ripe to you know, become more active again. And I think just Joao is worried about whether it will or won't.
And I think also because what's happened is that Patrick was around for a scrum once a day.
Yep.
And now he's not.
Yeah, and he's saying he wants to kind of drift away now. So yeah, so we've kind of lost, I think, Patrick. Patrick's still available for help and support, but he's maybe not going to take a core role in the project going forward.
Okay. Is it because he's on SHF?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, you know, he's put a lot of time into Met Plus, and it's, you know, he's got sensibly so. Again, exactly what you were saying about, you know, choosing to focus on one thing per week. We've all got to be careful how many things we take on. So, but yes, I think that's so I had a discussion with.
So it's like kind of having like a new team lead. Met Plus that somebody that the go-to person that Patrick was.
Yeah.
And I think once that sense of there's that go-to person comes back,
Mm-hmm.
You might find people jumping in again.
Yeah, well, and what I'm encouraging Joao to promote to the client is that, if they've got these really big plans and they don't want to rely upon volunteer support that may come and go, then they can upgrade from, they're currently on this extra plan here, to the enterprise plan, which guarantees, one feature development a month. And if they were on that, then I would quite happily put my time in as team lead. So we'll see what the Joao's going to talk to the client today, and we'll see where that goes. So, but yes. So yeah, various things to get done there. Moving on from that, please jump in with comments on anything if anybody wants to. My Note boat. So this is Mikhail, who's a premium face-to-face member, has introduced us to his colleague who wants to get a system built to help sailors, and they particularly want it working on mobile, and they're looking at doing it with React Native, and they do have a budget for getting this thing delivered this year, and they have quite advanced plans. And yeah, we've kind of agreed to do a sort of an intensive prototyping for them, and that will be paid, and so that's being discussed in paid projects. I mean, it's got its own channel, and this is, I think the whole idea of sustainability for Adventures was that if we have paid projects in interesting technologies that people want to work in, then they'll pay for the premium membership, and that will demonstrate their level of commitment, and then we can have committed people who will work on projects and deliver things to get satisfied customers, and then it goes round and round and round and round. So that's a very promising development. So yeah, very pleased about that. I'll just nip on. Yeah, I've got a big a big meeting with all the people who are involved in social prescribing on Friday. Big conference, to promote the wiki. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I've still got action items on it myself. But yeah, really pleased, Lara, to have been able to move the meeting to Wednesday so we can regularly meet on that. I think thanks so much for your work on the SEO stuff, by the way. Really appreciated.
Sure.
And then we've got the Anstey-Powell Society. So they have approved the website design. They have not yet paid the upfront deposit, but that will be when the clock. I mean, when we can officially start working on it. And I'm hoping to finish the membership database within the next week or so. And I guess that the marketing thing for both of these is to get these into our nonprofit site. Is that potentially, these are both going to be, success stories of how Adventures has delivered on things for charities and positive causes. And I think what we want to do is get that into our nonprofit site, so we can replace with a couple other things in here, a kind of placeholders. So this Project Unify thing that Thomas started never really got off the ground, and Snow Angels either. They didn't. I mean, these other ones are in use, but I would love to replace a couple of the sort of placeholdery items with real success stories going forward.
Just on Anstey-Powell, if you can just put a note there, I'm going to create a Trello board this weekend.
Great.
Just so it'll be like our checklist.
Yes.
In terms of what we need to get from clients and getting work done.
Good show. Yeah, yes, I'll be very interested to see this. The details of doing the development in WordPress, which I did use back in the day, but it's been a long time. But it does seem like WordPress is kind of taking over the world in terms of getting quick sites.
It is
up and out there, yes, and the whole ecosystem that's associated with it. Yeah. Okay. So we've kind of covered your items, Federico. We're almost into that knockoff phase. Joe, yeah, you've had a look at some of the text on the coding page. You had some thoughts?
Yeah, we mentioned before breaking it down, and I wanted to check basically like what I've got as sort of your main areas. You've got what is code, how to write code, how can open source coding help, and I was going to add an extra bit that was Agile Ventures and open source coding at the end. I wanted to know how attached you are to the current writing, because
not at all. I have no attachment to it. You could completely lose all of the existing writing, and I'd have no problem with that whatsoever, personally.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I think my desire going forward is that there is the almost absolute minimum amount of text on the page, and that again, I'm not specifically attached to the text that we have in here, but I think something of this kind of length that gets across this idea that the you can get value, say, helping fixing your coding problems by attending a live stand-up online, to get something that gets that across. Again, I'm not attached to these images. Lara was saying there are there's better images available, but the key thing that I'm attached to is having the combination of an image and a short pithy amount of text that kind of does its best to get across the value proposition in the smallest number of words possible, if that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect. I am on board with that. I know what I'm doing then. It's fine.
Wonderful. All right. So that then potentially allows us to finish up relatively and get into the knockoff phase, where we could spend time on a number of different things. For example, looking at the newsletter, I've got some things to do here. I think let's say if anybody needs to go now, then you should absolutely feel free to go, because the meeting is done, and we're now in the kind of after meeting phase, where people can hang around and get other things done if they so choose, but don't have to. I know I've got to go and check on some things here. Federico, would you if you upload these what are they called, the podcast files, into this GitHub repo right now, that will unblock me for doing all the other stuff I need to do there. So
yeah,
is that something that you could quickly do now in the next 2 minutes?
Yes, I will do that now.
All right, so I'll ping that to you. I'll hang around and do my other stuff in the background. If you wanted to start doing once you've done that, if you wanted to start doing the newsletter review, then be my guest. I think it might, yeah, we probably can't all look at it together at the same time, maybe? I don't know. Anyway. Let me ping.
Yeah, I think we may run out of time on that.
But certainly we could. Sorry, Lara, go on.
I can hang around for a bit.
Yeah.
If you want, Federico.
Even if it's just I don't know about you, Federico, but sometimes for me, the critical thing is getting started on something. And so I often find I'm doing this myself with just even if I know that I can't finish something, I will get it started so that I then have it up in a window. So that when I'm later on going, I don't know, what should I do now? I can't face this thing I was working on. I have this procrastination wheel where I can then go, it's just there. I'll go and do it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'll let you. Because I have this big problem of stopping talking. I'm going to stop talking just after I've said, I've pinged you this, and I'm going to go and look at this stuff, but I'll be around. I'll mute myself so I am not too distracting. Great to see everybody. I'll be around for a bit. Just so shout if you need me.
It's going to be weird. We're so used to having Sam talk, so now I feel obligated to talk. Okay, so downloads, that went away. Hang on. Oh, where's that? Was that me?
Yeah, for a bit. I lost audio.
Yeah, I was hearing a buzz there for a second. Okay.
You can hear me, Frederico?
Yes, yeah. Going to, I guess I could upload files. Access to this. I guess what I'll do is create a fork. Yeah. Sam, would you prefer giving me access, or if I create a fork?
I'll give you access. Right, I was just going to say, yeah, just push it into master. I thought I'd muted myself. Let me go and sort you out. Okay, come brain. It's Agile Book Club podcast. Okay, and yeah, see, that's a funny thing. Like, I sort of assumed that because, I mean, you're on like the core team that you would, I guess it's because it hasn't been added to a team. I see, right. So if I do this, will you then have access to it? See,
12. Not yet, no.
No? What, why do you, right.
Let me reload the page, maybe.
Yeah. Weird. Okay, well, I'll take the.
Well, maybe it's just for the uploads. Let me try to do a.
It's weird. Let me. No, it's okay. Hold on. Let me put core. All right. Try now. No, you should be able to upload things now. I think I added the team, and the team by default only had read access and not admin access.
Yeah, and that worked.
Okay. So. That reminds me of another issue. This LinkedIn thing. It says we've got 79 followers on LinkedIn. I cannot, for the life of me, work out how we see who they are.
You can't.
Right. It's a secret. It's a secret society.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's
so weird.
Yeah, I wonder if you had premium or what have you, you would. So this one, it's like that's not even our thing, but.
Let's see what to do.
Yeah, it's 73 followers.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a look. You can't. If you're on your personal page, you can see who's following you, but on your business page,
it's a secret. I mean, they've got
you can only see the analytics. You can only
they've got
analytics.
This wonderful analytics suite showing you lots of exciting things about, like who the followers when they came, like where they came from, but not who they are.
Yes.
Which I guess is perhaps intentional. And then it's like even we've got suggestions of companies that you should track, but not. I mean, it's the kind of thing like I want to ask LinkedIn. Like I want to send them like a little like, oh, by the way, can you do this? And but I can't even find a like help and support thing for them. Make me smaller. Go back to my home. Thank you. They're here. It's me. They've got the help center. And then can you help forum? Okay. Okay. Followers. we can search the discussions, start a new forum discussion. Can you see a list of names of the followers of your? So somebody asking this very question. Oh, there's a short link should be.
So Sam, doing
Yes.
it this way, GitHub is not allowing me to do it because the file size
Okay.
is
What I would do is clone the repository locally, move the files into the location, and then push them up.
Okay.
Apparently. Go to your company page. Click Manage so that you are in the admin section. Click on the notifications and then click on the followers link in the top right-hand corner, which should now be like. So basically, this is of 6 months ago. So that they're saying that there should be a followers thing here, and there's not. So it's one found this helpful, and they've locked the discussion. Good grief. And then this is actually being removed explicitly. Okay, yeah. No. So, and that's, when was that? It's 5 months ago. Yeah, can't be done. Can't be done. Monkeys. Oh well. That's frustrating. Okay. Why was it removed? Right, they've explicitly removed it. There we go. In order to respect the privacy of the followers.
Do you mind if I just go ahead and remove the other files?
Not at all. Go right ahead.
So that they're not, yeah. There's no confusion.
Okay, so if we can't see our LinkedIn followers, then yeah, one other random bit of marketing related news is that the advanced course has gone live for the MOOC, and I have sort of promoted our mob sessions through that, but I'm just going to adjust it so it doesn't say LinkedIn anymore, because we were not able to actually see who signs up. Oh, that was the podcast there. Okay. So we need to enable GitHub Pages on this. We have. How's that working, Federico?
Yeah, just about done. It is a lot slower though because of the big files. Even git add was real slow.
Sure.
We're just about out of time.
Oh, the other thing there's like a whole thing called like Gitcoin, which is not a kind of coin, but it's basically using Ethereum to like pay people for contributions to open source. Which I think is kind of interesting.
So would that be contributions? Oh, didn't that retire recently?
No. The thing I mentioned there was CodeSponsor, but I think the CodeSponsor, which is about ethical advertising for open source, shut down. But the people involved in that have joined Gitcoin. Apparently, I think that's what I was hearing in this podcast this morning. But yeah, there's like, so for example, here this is like the Gitcoin Issue Explorer. So you can see like it's like basically a list of open source things that you could work on and how much Ethereum that you would earn if you completed them.
Okay, cool.
And this guy, I mentioned this is I'm in the Gitcoin community Slack now, where they're chatting to me.
So, all right, looks like we're up finally.
Cool.
So right on time. Sorry we couldn't get to the other items. Did you? Yeah, looks like you got something done. No.
Yeah, well, so I'm in the process of setting up the GH pages, so I'm going to carry on doing that now. I think I'm pulling down this, including the new large files that you've got up. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you've got another meeting coming up now, have you got? Yeah, but yeah,
I should get ready for that.
Yeah, please do. But yeah, I think yeah, we're solid. Good meeting, everyone, and yeah, let's we will either do the newsletter or not do the newsletter. There is no try, as Yoda says. There's no middle path. Just do or not do, and either is fine. But does
No, only one is fine. We only have one option.
All right,
let's do it.
If you say so. All right, great, lovely. See you all next week, if not before. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Ciao.